SCOBIE cannot weasel his way out of this one. Dutch translator speaks out confirming that the names were included in the manuscript.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the King YouTube channel.
Well, obviously, somebody is lying, and I'm pretty sure I know who it is, and I don't believe for 1 second it was the Dutch translator, and I don't believe for 1 second it was the publisher. Omid Scobie is telling a big fat lie when he claims that he never included the names of the mysterious royal races in any text. He absolutely included it. He thought he was being so sneaky slipping those names into the translated copies, but now he's being called out, and he's trying to pretend to be innocent. Nobody's buying it, Scooby-Doo. The Mail Online has got the scoop, so they're running the headline, Dutch translator of Omid Scobie's Endgame says the names of the two royal races were in the manuscript she was sent after author insisted he never submitted a book with them in it. Okay, so let's just recap what has happened so far. On Tuesday, of course, Omid Scobie's new book Endgame about the royal family came out. Of course, in the few weeks leading up, we'd been getting all these leaks, so we knew about what to expect. But the real story that overtook all the headlines basically immediately was all about the Dutch version of this book. As you know, in the Oprah Winfrey interview, Meghan and Harry talked about some royal racist, somebody who allegedly had made a comment about Archie's skin color before he was born. And then apparently there were some letters exchanged between Meghan and King Charles in which they discussed the issue. Well, Scooby-Doo claims he knows the names of these royals, but he wasn't going to reveal them, because he was worried he might be sued. Well, in the Dutch copy, somehow those names in fact were revealed, and we found out it was Charles and Catherine who allegedly made comments about Archie's skin color before he was born. Whatever, we still don't really believe it, but that's the story. So then right after it was discovered that the Dutch edition contained these names, the US publisher sent them a message saying it's an error and they've got to pull the copies from the shelves immediately. Well, they did their best, but of course it was too late. There are already some out there circulating. Apparently now the price of those books has absolutely skyrocketed. But anyway, Scooby-Doo is also naturally trying to lay the blame on somebody else. He, like Meghan and Harry, is never going to take accountability for anything he does. So he claimed it was the publisher, he's claimed now that it was the translator, and thank God that translator is speaking out. The translator is a woman named Saskia Peters, and she said she did not add the names to the Dutch version of the book Endgame. She spoke with the Mail Online from her home in Arnhem, and she said, as a translator, I translate what is in front of me. The names of the royals were there in black and white. I did not add them. I just did what I was paid to do, and that was translate the book from English into Dutch. I think it's pretty clear who we should believe in this situation. Why would this translator have any reason to lie about this? Why would she want to put her entire career in jeopardy just to name the royal races in the book? She wouldn't. This woman is a professional. There's no way she would do that. Scooby-Doo, on the other hand, absolutely would do that, probably at Meghan's insistence. They thought they were being so sneaky. I mean, they're always doing stuff like this. It's so transparent. Scooby-Doo, though, went on ITV insisting, I never submitted a book that had those names in it. I mean, we don't believe you. Now, reportedly, the inclusion of the names led to 5,000 copies of the book, called Final Battle in Holland, being withdrawn from sale on the bookshelves and pulped. Bookstores were ordered to remove the paperback from their shelves and return to the publisher. The book will go back on sale next week. For a little while, most media outlets in the UK were not revealing the names that were contained in the book, but Piers Morgan decided to let the cat out of the bag, which, honestly, I agree with that decision of his. He said that since Dutch people already know the names, that it's only fair that British citizens also get to know the names, and he's making a very good point. And Piers Morgan is not trying to say that we should believe what Meghan is telling, that these people made these comments about Archie's skin color, but simply that we should know what Meghan and Scooby-Doo and Harry are trying to do. They're trying to take down King Charles and Princess Catherine, arguably the two most powerful people in the royal family. That's exactly what is going on here. And how wrong of scabies to try to blame all this on the translator, as if she cares enough to do something like that. I mean, she was just trying to do her job. As the Mail Online reports, Mrs. Peters was clearly shocked and nervous at the firestorm her translation has caused. She did not say when she received the manuscript from the Dutch publisher Zander. She said the pages were distributed between herself and another translator to transcribe. And when Miss Peters heard that Scobie had denied the names were in his manuscript, her response was, I don't know why he would say that. I have been translating for many years. This is the first time anything like this has happened. This is not something I wanted to be involved in. This has been upsetting. I do not want to talk about it much more. I mean, this poor woman is just trying to live her life. She is not trying to be a celebrity, unlike Megan and Scooby-Doo and Harry. You know, Scabies is really showing how very much like Megan he is in this whole situation. He doesn't care who he hurts. He doesn't care whose lives he ruins in the process of getting fame and money for himself. All he cares about is making a killing off this book, and he doesn't care about the lives that are destroyed in the process. I don't know who Scabies thinks is going to believe his claims. I mean, he insisted that it was an error in the translation in the Dutch version, and he said he was happy it was being corrected. What is he talking about? How could that even be an error? It doesn't make any sense. A publisher or a translator is not just going to add in a name when there is no name. And another thing is, names are not going to be translated, so the whole thing makes absolutely no sense. And the Netherlands publisher just referred to an error that occurred in the Dutch edition. They didn't make any reference to a translation issue, suggesting there could be a difference in opinion as to what really went down. Some colleagues of the translator, Mrs. Peters, said it would be unthinkable that the experienced translators would add the names without checking with the publisher. I mean, of course, they would never do that. A translator's job is to translate. It's not to add stuff in. It's not to take things away. I mean, she would never do something so unprofessional. Mr. Paul Jansa, who runs a book translation service, said, "I find it really unthinkable that a translator would mention names that weren't there in their English version, especially such a sensitive matter." He went on to say, "To me, it does not make sense. As a book translator, you work with what is in front of you. I think they must have used a version with the names in it." And another translator based in Amsterdam also said the two people responsible for the Dutch version of Endgame would never have written those names unless they were already in the manuscript. The translator said, quote, "Why would they choose these particular names out of all those they could use? They are very experienced professionals who have so many credits to their name. Why would they risk doing this, and who is to say they got the right names?" Exactly. I mean, this is such a ludicrous claim for Scooby-Doo to even make. Obviously, he is desperate to make himself look innocent in this whole mess, but he's not innocent. I mean, come on. His and Megan's fingerprints are all over this. They thought they were being so sly. They thought, oh, we'll never get caught in this one. Well, much like all their other lies, of course they're going to be caught. You would think with all that experience they would be better liars by now, but they're not. That's the thing about them that I find so baffling. They're always getting caught in their lies, but they never learn from that. They just continue to lie even more. And according to the Daily Mail, sources have said that Buckingham Palace today is considering all options over the royal race row stoked by Scobie's new book. Sources claim that while King Charles is determined to focus on important state business in Dubai, where he is holding bilateral meetings ahead of giving a keynote opening speech at the COP28 summit on Friday, aides are seriously looking at how they should, if at all, respond. The Mail Online reports, while it is clear that courtiers will be looking at the various legal options open to them, it is incredibly unlikely that they would actually sue Scobie. They would not want to get into a protracted legal battle. But still, a source who spoke with the Mail said, "I understand the palace is considering all options open to them. However, the key thing for them is His Majesty responding in the most eloquent way possible by getting on with business and not letting it distract from vastly more important issues regarding the future on the planet and bilaterals with other world leaders, including those impacted by the situation in the Middle East." The Mail also reports that there are some other options available to them, like sending out a legal warning to the people who might further repeat the names, especially considering there hasn't been any confirmation that these are really the people concerned, or whether there is any truth even to the allegations themselves in the first place. And then another option, of course, would be for the royal family to publicly release a statement, much like the late Queen did with her Recollections May Vary statement. Right now, of course, it is impossible to predict how they will respond or even if they will respond. But you know when and if they do, I'll be here to talk about it. And you, what do you think of Scooby-Doo trying to blame the translators for leaking the names of the royal races? Please let me know your opinion below in the comments section. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please do like and share it with anybody else who would appreciate it too. And don't be afraid to click the subscribe button to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely weekend, and we'll be back to see you all tomorrow.